The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network once again, and welcome to our continued coverage here of WrestleMania weekend here in 2023. This is a thrilling weekend for me, really watching so much wrestling that I'm feeling sick to my stomach. And welcome to the review show here of WrestleMania Smackdown and also the 2023 WWE Hall of Fame. It has been a whirlwind of a day for me watching Ring of Honor and now watching Smackdown, then the Hall of Fame. It is nearly midnight and I have to watch NXT at 1 a.m. So I have a fucking long week, a long morning ahead of me and a long weekend ahead of me because, you know, we still got WrestleMania day 1 and day 2, but we're on the homeward straight right now. So WrestleMania Smackdown airing from the Crypto.com arena on March 31st in Los Angeles. This is probably the first time I've watched an episode of Smackdown in probably 10 or 15 years, honestly. For those that might not know, the only episodes of Raw that I have seen since God knows when was Raw 25 and the 1000th episode of Raw, which was probably several years before Raw 25, but I did not like either of those shows, so I've never really watched a full show of their weekly TV since. So I thought this would be interesting for me to cover here because I just haven't watched any SmackDown for, it has to be 15 years, bro. Honestly, it has to be. So anyway, let's get underway. Less of a dry open than they usually have. Good to have a pan of the crowd. They open the show with the Usos. And the Usos get on the microphone and start talking some smack. I thought it was a little bit of a shame that they got interrupted a few seconds into their promo, which is such a cookie cutter thing in pro wrestling these days, but it had a point. You know, they needed to get Owens and Zayn out there. If you want ratings, man, this is how you start the show. Zayn and Owens getting in the face of the Usos and really laying it on the line with what they have to say, because a showdown like this where they speak about their story together, this is what people are going to be invested in. Not a lot of people give a hard time to WWE for starting shows with long promos, but it's been known to work. It always worked ratings wise, and people complain about it, but that's when people tune in. So I really dug Kevin Owens making it seem real by screaming at them for nearly taking his career away from him and putting food on his family's table at the Royal Rumble. There was great verbiage in this. I liked all of it. They all had a legitimate issue and something to say that had a lot of substance to it. But the one thing that I have to nitpick here is like when the Usos finished, I think it was Jay, he finished his promo, he said the final line, and immediately the theme song hit. It's so funny how wrestling works. It's like whoever was backstage like immediately hit the theme song. Like, how would you know no one else had anything to say? It's always funny how they do that with pro wrestling. Anyway, let's get on with the first match. The Street Profits make their entrance as the Usos and Owens and Zayn are leaving. And it's a four-way match, which I guess is a part of this four-way tag match that's happening at WrestleMania. So it's kind of like, I guess, a showcase match at WrestleMania for these tag teams. But here we have four members of the four teams here. Ricochet, Erik from the Viking Raiders, Chad Gable, and Montez Ford. I mean, for me personally, I would have given someone unexpected the win here, like Erik from the Viking Raiders, because you wouldn't have expected him to win. I like that Montez was making Ricochet laugh with his dancing. Then Chad Gable gets in and has a little dance, and you can see referee Jessica Carr start laughing, which was really cool. I like those kinds of moments. They kind of ate up a bit of time with this matchup here. I had a feeling that they were going to eat up some time with these matches. I don't like having commercial breaks during matches, just being honest. Montez Ford, man, come on. This dude really is an athlete, man, of the highest regard. I mean, not just because he's dating her, but he's literally the male version of Bianca Belair. For me, I wouldn't have had this match go as long as it did. The show needs to pop more, move along quicker. They probably could have got, 7 or 8 matches on the show if they would try and go back to the way things used to be. People's attention spans are short, man. Like, I think that's a big problem for AEW because they have these long matches every single week, and I don't think you're going to be able to retain the attention of people that have that attention span problem. That's why TikTok is so big. That's why YouTube Shorts are so big, because it only needs your attention for 30 seconds to a minute. There were 2 dives in this match. I like to keep up to date on that when I watch a wrestling show, because I feel like dives are becoming a dime a dozen these days. What a finish to the match. Ricochet hit the shooting star press and went nearly all the way to halfway across the ring to hit it on Chad Gable. So that was insane and super far of a jump. So Ricochet got the win in this matchup. The Bloodline were then backstage. Reigns walks in and sits down and no one's talking. Who hangs out like that? I know it's a serious situation with WrestleMania around the corner, but nobody does that. And that's something that I always fault wrestling companies with. Like when The Righteous came out at the end of 0 Hour for Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor. Come on, man. Like, they just stood there and then that was the end of the segment. Nothing happened. Like, no one would do that in real life. We crack on with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And I'm going to say this right here, right now. If the pre-show tomorrow for WrestleMania 39 has no matches, then seeing this match now on SmackDown is absolute bullshit. Because if they have a 1 hour pre-show before WrestleMania, and it's just people standing around a table talking about fake wrestling, a panel, and video packages and all that, then shame on them. Get these people in front of the crowd. If Lashley's not going to actually be on the WrestleMania card, then Jesus Christ, why not put this on the show? As if it would be hard to fit it in. The show's long enough. It's on their own network. They can do the show as long as they want, as if you can't fit everyone in on the show. But anyway, it's a bit of love for Andre with a package. I just feel like because they put this on SmackDown now before WrestleMania, that they've watered this down and it doesn't feel as important as it once did, which only lasted a couple of years. Let's be perfectly honest with each other, you know. I don't agree with giving certain people their own entrance because it kind of gives away the result of the match. Yes, I know it's obvious that, you know, one half of the Lotharios or whatever they're called aren't going to win, but I don't think you should give people their own entrance when, like, almost every single other person walked out together in a group. They show before the match started, there was a shot of the Great Muta's locker room and someone walking out with mist on their face, which I thought was kind of stupid, but I was hoping that maybe Great Muta might show up on the show somehow. It's really funny, like back in the day, they used to pile so much stuff in a show, but now this didn't really have a lot of things on this show. Let's be honest. There weren't a lot of backstage segments. It was pretty wrestling heavy. Just kind of strange when you look at it now. As I said, that 15 years that I hadn't watched an episode of SmackDown. When you look at it now, you're like, gosh, like it's really changed a lot. I did laugh at Michael Cole picking Top Dollar as his pick for winning the match because he said he can't get over the top rope. So that's a great rib there. Surprise Corbin eliminated straight away. I feel really bad for this guy. I wonder why they felt the JBL thing wasn't working. You know, like why? Like maybe you didn't write the content that they needed in order for it to work. Like that's half of the issue most of the time. You know, when Bruce Pritchard says things, oh, they just didn't connect with the audience. It's like, maybe they didn't connect with the audience because you didn't do anything to give them the opportunity to connect with the audience. Like, people have connected with the audience, like Zack Ryder and Damian Sandow, and look what happened there. You still didn't want to go with it just because you didn't want it to happen. Like, it's such bullshit. There were a few things that happened in this that were a little bit silly, like Dolph was elbowing Otis and missed him by a mile, and Otis was still selling it. I was hopeful that this wouldn't go too long. Did laugh at Wade Barrett claiming to have been hot enough to have been a model when he was younger. Wade Barrett it was a joy to watch this show just because Wade Barrett was on color commentary. Because the last pay-per-view, fucking Corey Graves did the whole show and there was no sign of Wade Barrett whatsoever. Seeing Anderson and Gallows in this match, man, they've got to be careful with shit like this, you know, like Anderson and Gallows have not done anything. I know AJ's hurt, but that's okay. You should learn how to pivot with people. Anderson and Gallows should be in that 14 match at WrestleMania. Sorry, I don't think Ricochet and Braun Strowman have been together long enough to deserve that when Anderson and Gallows are an established team and former tag team champions. They should be on WrestleMania. I don't care. It's ridiculous that they haven't done a lot with them. Doesn't matter if AJ's hurt. There's still shit you can do with them. Again, I see someone like Elias wasted beyond belief, man. It blows my mind that they have a talent like that and they still haven't done anything of note with him when he probably by this point could be a player in the company. Rick Boogs does get a bit of a shine. There was a great spot with Bronson Reed squishing Lashley and Strowman in the corner. I did like the flurry of eliminations at the end. But it's clear LA Knight's the one that's the most over out of everyone here. He got eliminated, and the people don't get what they want again. I really thought that this match was going to lead to some sort of thing that would lead to Lashley having a match at WrestleMania, and it might have made sense to put him against LA Knight. You knew Strowman was going to win this because he's in a tag match at Mania. But it was a great finish. Lashley wins. But how does this lead to Lashley getting a WrestleMania match? I was hopeful that the lights would go out and Bray Wyatt would attack him and the match would be on. Don't know what's going on with Bray. I wish they would let us know. Shit. Also, does anyone out there know what's going on with The Miz? I need to maybe do some research. I'm wondering why The Miz isn't on the show. Wouldn't a feud and story with The Miz and LA Knight on the microphone just be fantastic? There's still room for stuff like that. Anyway, let's move forward. A ladies' fatal four-way to match the men's, although there was no ladies' battle royal. And I don't know what's going on with that, but they should just bring it back already and call it the China Memorial Battle Royal or the Sherry Martel Memorial Battle Royal, something like that. But it probably should be China because you've got that big Andre statue. A China statue would be pretty cool too. Just do it already. Fuck. Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Natty Neidhart, or Natalya, sorry, and Sonya Deville. I would have preferred Chelsea Green be in this, but that's okay. And I was excited to see Liv Morgan coming out to ringside with Raquel because you all know I like me a little bit of Liv. Found it interesting that Ronda Rousey's entrance with Shayna got cut out of the broadcast because they went to commercial. Raquel went for a double Samoan on two of the ladies. Can't remember which ladies they were, but then it got cut off. And I'm like, if she's going to carry them all the way to the middle of the ring, let her hit the fucking move. There weren't enough camera shots of Chelsea Green either, just being perfectly honest. Like, you want ratings? You put the camera on Chelsea Green. You see the way that she acts ringside. Also, she's incredibly hot. Come on. I think the ladies at ringside should have been a bit more involved and maybe there should have been some sort of like physical interaction between all of them. You know, Shotzi's right there. She's cute as a button. Like, why wouldn't you want to get her on the screen a bit? So I think that this should have become a bit more dramatic than it was to sell this match at Mania, just like the men's one. Maybe something a bit more dramatic could have happened if they actually, I don't know, put a second of fucking effort into thinking about what can we do to make this match mean more at Mania, instead of being like, oh, this is where I'm going to go to the bathroom or get some popcorn or whatever, or get a cold fucking beer. After this, sorry, I don't think I finished this off. Raquel got the win, but I would have given it to Sonya. I would have given it to someone again that you didn't expect. Sometimes you got to think about it, and it's a Vince Russo thing, but something is obvious, an outcome is obvious, then I think you should go the other direction sometimes, especially on a show like this where it doesn't really matter in the end. I did laugh a lot at that Bloodline doing Goodfellas segment to hype WrestleMania. That was pretty funny. And then they showed a package of Rey and Dominic. I was fast forwarding through it, but I couldn't help but watch it again. And I just audibly laughed out loud at Rey Mysterio, the nicest person and character ever, punching his dickhead son right in the head, right in the dick on his head. Rey was backstage. That's why I'm wearing this fucking shirt, bro. Legado del Fantasma rock up. Santos Escobar, his goons, and Zelina Vega. I still think it's a bit bullshit that Electric Lopez is not with them, but whatever. I thought Escobar did good in this segment. He had some, Rey had some shirts for them, and it was the LWO. Man, that popped me. I was so happy about that. And I thought, yeah, I've got an LWO shirt, so I'm going to wear that for the review. And I did like the fact that Michael Cole gave a little bit of a history lesson to those fans out there that aren't aware of the story of the LWO and how it was founded by Eddie, and Rey was not a willing member of the group until now. But Michael Cole, let this WCW nerd right here let you in on a little bit of information. Rey was proud to wear the LWO colors after Eddie was injured in early 1999. And Lex Luger was being given the job from the NWO Elite, which was the mix of the Wolfpack and the Black and White, to try and get the LWO to break up. The NWO used to attack the LWO. Rey Mysterio was the last member that would not take the shirt off. Lex Luger tried to get him to take the shirt off, which led to Nash and Luger going after Rey, and the from an exodus from the Wolfpack, Conan being kicked out. So then it was Conan and Rey taking on Nash and Luger. And in the end, that's when Rey lost his mask. So there's a history lesson for a lot of people. That's how the LWO ended. And he was proud to wear it for a little while there. Anyway, enough of my nerdy shit. Let's get through this because, I wanted to get this done in 30 minutes. There's a tag team match, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre taking on Imperium. I thought this should be good. I didn't have much to say about it. I did like the stuff with Drew trying to get a blind tag in because he was getting pissed off at Sheamus taking some of the spotlight and seemingly getting close to the end of the match with his offense. So there was some story here at least for the match at Mania with Gunther looking at the monitor backstage. I really would have had Imperium win this thanks to miscommunication. Again, another established tag team that should have been in this showcase tag team match at Mania. Like, you've brought them up. This is a really good tag team. Trust me, they did great in NXT. Do something with them. Hopefully, once the Usos drop these belts to Owens and Zayn, because I'm sure that's happening. Hopefully, teams like Imperium and Gallows and Anderson can get into the mix finally. Sheamus did the blind tag too. Tit for tat. That was a near fall from Imperium. I was hoping that McIntyre would hit the Claymore on Sheamus to cost the match, but they ended up beating Imperium, so whatever. Okay. Cody makes an entrance to end the show. This is the final segment of the WrestleMania Smackdown. It's funny how the WWE fans have embraced him the way that they have. But because this babyface Cody was the one he was supposed to be, not the one that was such a dickhole like he was in AEW. He's presented better here, and that's just a fact. I think the problem was Tony and Cody collaborating on ideas and not both of them not being creatively inclined, which is why it came across really cringeworthy with most of the babyface things that he did. Sorry, I've got a really dry mouth, so I'm kind of stumbling over my words a little bit. I did like Cody being like, what do you want to talk about? He raps a bit of Tupac. And the fact that Cody said, I'm hearing Hoochie screaming from the California Love lyrics is ridiculous. I also love the fact that he talked about how Reigns said that he couldn't get over in his own company, yet WWE invested millions into him after 11 years, and he only started paying dividends by year 8. Great comment. So props where it's due. 2 years ago, Cody was my most disliked pro wrestler. Now I don't mind him at all. This was a good promo. Sammy Guevara is now my most disliked wrestler, closely followed by Wheeler Yuta. Reigns comes out. I knew there was 2 minutes left in the show. Then there was 90 seconds left. I'm like, what's going to happen here? I did laugh at him talking to Paul, and Paul pops into the shot saying, "Yes, my tribal chief." Like he's such a he's such a like a simp for Reigns. So yeah, I wrote, I'd love for the show to end because it was such a big period of time. I wrote, I'd love for the show to end and Roman just be like, "Fuck you." Like imagine that. That would never happen, but that would have made me laugh. Hope that made you laugh. He didn't want the LA fans to acknowledge him because he turned to Cody and said to him, "Acknowledge me," as we go off the air. So there we have it. SmackDown, or WrestleMania Smackdown's review. And now we're moving over from the WrestleMania Smackdown review to my WWE Hall of Fame 2023 review. Yes, continuing our coverage here of WrestleMania weekend on the WZWA Network. I looked at the video because I illegally downloaded this. 2.5 hours. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I've got to watch NXT in 45 minutes at this point right now. 1 a.m. it airs here. I have to watch that whole thing, then record a drunken review, and I'm already a little bit tipsy now. God help me. So I had to skip a whole heap of the kickoff, but then I saw things that I wanted to look at, so like, oh, Maria Menounos is there, so I have to look at her for a little bit. It doesn't matter what she's saying. I just wanted to look at her because she's super cute. Kurt Angle gets interviewed. I'm like, Kurt, way to go with the wife, bro. She's hot. And one other note from the kickoff for the Hall of Fame is, honestly, when they were interviewing Charlotte, I thought it was Medusa. And I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not saying anything bad at all. But for like a few seconds, like, oh, cool, Medusa's there. And then I realized, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like Medusa. It's Charlotte. I don't know why that happened, but I thought that was interesting. And maybe someone out there also thought the same. Anyway, sorry for the mad rush. I'm trying to get through this so I can settle myself down for the NXT Stand and Deliver show in 44 minutes now. First induction of the evening, Stacey Keibler. Fuck me, man. She was and is so gorgeous. No wonder George Clooney, the sexiest man in the world, was all over Stacey Keibler. Come on, man. There was a video package for this, and you know what? I actually got a little bit emotional watching her video. I could not believe it. And I also laughed at the fact that Major Guns getting thrown through a table got on a WWE Hall of Fame video. So good to see that hottie toddy make a little cameo. And I did laugh at the judge on Dancing with the Stars saying that she's a weapon of mass seduction. She is. So the inductors are Tori Wilson and Mick Foley, and I'm laughing so much because it's like Mick Foley is Stacey Keibler's friend. I've got more to say about that in a minute. There was no entrance. They're already in the ring. Tori's looking awesome. Gosh. It's like, talk about women that make me weak all over whenever I think of them. Mick Foley going up there and being like, a lot of people probably wondering, like, what the hell am I doing up here for Stacey Keibler's induction? But, they had a great friendship. And I did laugh at him talking about him and Molly Holly having a match to see who the nicest person in WWE history is. Love the story about him and Stacey at the Jets game, where it's like this kind of romantic embrace. They're both on different sides of the stadium. They call each other. They find out they're at the same game, and they find each other after having not seen each other for years. I thought that was very sweet. Foley is just such a gem, and I can't imagine anyone having anything bad to say about him. Tori came up next. There's some nice stories about her meeting Stacey, and she was talking about how when Stacey got changed in the women's locker room, all the women went quiet because they couldn't believe her body. And I bet she looked hot and naked, bro. Come on. Oh, God, they were both Tori and Stacey in WCW, man. Come on. They were something else, man. Like, I'm telling you, crushes across the globe. So anyway, here she comes. Stacey comes out. She looks the exact same as she did when she was in WWE. It was unbelievable. There were like a couple of small wrinkles here, but honestly, for the most part, fuck, man, what a babe. Just unbelievable, man, how some of these people look so good after all these years. She alludes to the sign that she was holding up in the crowd for Bret Hart. She always wanted to meet Bret Hart. Imagine Bret Hart finding out all these years later that Stacey Keibler had the hots for him. I mean, shit. Oh, well, my name's Bret Hart, and I mean, Stacey Keibler, I found it quite respectful about the fact that she had the hots for the Hitman. Dude, come on. Like, imagine finding that out years later and then being like, man, like maybe there could have been a chance. And I love the fact that Stacey was also shot in the crowd wearing an NWA Wolfpack shirt. That means that she likes the same things that I do. So I love the thank yous from her to Medusa, to all the ladies that deserve to be mentioned, like Trish, Lita, Jazz, Molly, Holly, Victoria, etc., Jacqueline, etc., etc., etc. Good to hear those names get mentioned. Also, Gail Kim. Stacey Keibler is wife material, and it just makes me laugh that Mick Foley is a special friend. Mick Foley, look at him. And he's his friend to this incredibly hot, amazing woman. Mick Foley. He's just a gem, bro. And I also laughed to myself thinking that they shouldn't have taken a shot of the husband because he's definitely not as hot as Stacey. So everyone been thinking, oh man, like she could have got someone hotter than that. But I'm sure he's a lovely man because he would have to be to win the heart of one Stacey Keibler. Let's move forward. Andy Kauffman is inducted next. And I was like, how is this going to work out with Jerry Lawler being unwell? And I thought, Andy, if you were going to come back and show your death was a hoax, it would be brilliant if it was right now and you challenged a post-stroke Lawler to one more fight. That would be perfect, right? That would be exactly what he would do. So we do get to see Jerry, and he asks for Jimmy Hart to do the induction. Did love Andy's package as well about, just seeing being such a prick as a character, and this was so overdue. And, Vince, fuck you, man, for saying no to so many people that should have been in by now. So Jimmy Hart inducts. He's still got that hair. His speech was nice, but he needs to work on that comedic timing. He needed to probably work with someone on the speech, like a little bit closely, like get Brian Gewirtz to work with him on it or something like that. Andy's family comes out and accepts it. I would have loved for Tony Clifton to show up. So Bob Zamuda to come out as Tony Clifton, because that would have been funny. Because, at the end, he could be like, is he still alive? But maybe that was too complicated for them. And they probably thought no one's going to get the reference. Dominic gets booed when they shoot him. So we need more of that. I love that. And it reminded me of the time that when Shane and The Miz were going back and forth on the Hall of Fame and the crowd were popping for Miz and booing Shane. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's very funny. 3 inductions to go, and I can sail off into the sunset. Muta, Great Muta is next. I thought it was going to be interesting. And I was so glad it was happening. And I really wish Jushin Thunder Liger got a moment like this. Flair comes out to induct him, and I'm like, don't fuck this up, bro. Rick kept on touching the mic, and I'm just like, oh my God. And Rick said the word shit, and he spent a lot of the time talking about himself as well. And it made me think maybe that's Rick's last induction speech. He did a good job, but man, like he spent a lot of the time talking about himself, which was kind of funny. Muta comes out. He didn't have a lot to say because he doesn't speak English very, very well, but I thought what happened was cute. Don't know why that's the descriptor, but it was cute, and he showed his respect and thanked everyone. And the great part was when he shot that missed out one last time. And the sweetest thing was they shot to Asuka, who obviously loves him, in the crowd, and she was just like it's like Beatlemania for her. So that was very sweet. Getting towards the end here now, the Warrior Award. Finally, the Warrior Award is being utilized for the way that it was supposed to be utilized. The way that the Ultimate Warrior said that they should have an award for people that work behind the scenes. Tim White, referee Tim White. And this is the moment all referees, Mike Chioda, Charles Robinson, Nick Patrick, Jimmy Corderas, all of those referees from all over the years, this is what they deserve, to start seeing some of them get recognized for their contributions to pro wrestling. So again, Vince, don't know what your fucking problem is with giving people props that deserve the props. And I noticed that the legacy wing wasn't a part of this proceedings. So hopefully they'll keep inducting older people and not just sneak them in thinking, oh, no one will know who they are. Who gives a shit? It's not about the fans and what they know and want. It's about who deserves to be given the recognition for what they put into the business. So yes, Tim deserves this, and all the referees deserve this. The APA is there to induct. Again, what a theme song, Jim Johnston. You little beauty. This was fun. You knew that they were going to be funny. I loved Ron milking the damn. And he didn't say it the first time, pulled it away. It's just great, man. Like, how stupid is damn? Also found it funny, JBL talking about him and Ron being at Tim's bar, the friendly tap in the secret drinking room there, and said that he and Ron and Tim spent 1 month in one afternoon there one day. Fantastic. Fantastic. Then Ron was talking about how Tim would say, like, he pitched the idea for the APA to come back again and beat people up because he needed new shit in his bar. Like a new TV or a new this or a new that. And just Ron talk. Tim's not even with us anymore. And Ron's complaining like, man, he's using us, man. And of course, JBL talking about the fact that Tim asked him to throw one of those extras through the screen of the jukebox. And he said the thing that WWE didn't know was that the jukebox already wasn't working and it got replaced. So well done, Tim. And I actually started clapping like I was there. So out come his brothers, and thank God JBL said one of his brothers looks exactly like him, because you would have thought it was Tim White. And his brother's speech did make me feel a little bit teary-eyed, because obviously it was an emotional moment for him. Okay, we're almost there, everyone. I know this has been a whirlwind, but I've got so much shit to do, and I'm going to have a very heavy morning. And I still got to watch WrestleMania tomorrow. I'm not that upset about it. I'm thrilled. Okay. So Rey Mysterio. I am so glad Conan is going to induct him. I was hoping for his WCW theme, but of course they gave him some random theme song. But it was surreal to see Conan on WWE TV, and he did not disappoint. This guy took the opportunity to show WWE what they missed out on by not doing any business with him after WCW went away. You could tell immediately Conan's going to own this. Orale, viva la raza. Awesome stuff. Great stories of Conan lying to get Rey in to wrestle at different bars when he was, 15? And he said he was 19. And I wish Conan wasn't chewing the gum. That's the only thing that I'd say that I wasn't happy about, but loved all of his speech, making fun of Kevin Sullivan saying Rey's too small to be in WCW, and Conan being, well, Kev, you're not so tall yourself. Rey's WCW debut, what a great story, and how it shut everyone the fuck up that didn't believe in him, that were laughing at him because he was so small. This was one of the best induction speeches ever. And I loved when, if Conan said, if I was to be adopted, I'd wanted to be adopted by Rey, and maybe I could replace Dominic. And they showed Dominic's little fuckhead face, man. He is doing a great job, that kid. Great speech. Glad they kept the kayfabe of the feud with Dom and Rey alive, even though this is all a shoot. Love seeing Dom, Rhea, and Damian leave. It was hilarious. Rhea looks ravishing, by the way, for the Hall of Fame. After that happened, Rey, had said, I'll take care of business tomorrow. And the crowd went fucking nuts. When Rey told that story about how he was a broke wrestler and his wife was working and sending him money because he didn't have any, and he started to cry. Fuck, man, that got me real good. But look, I'm going to end this really quick here. Rey's speech was classy. He's clearly a sweetheart. It was great hearing about his experiences, and he certainly is a very deserved member among everyone else that was inducted here into the Hall of Fame of 2023. For final thoughts and rating on SmackDown, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It wasn't, the in-ring promo stuff was good, but the matches were a bit for me. They weren't bad matches, but it wasn't must-see television. Let's just say that. For the Hall of Fame, I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the Hall of Fame. I had, I've been very vocal about my displeasure at the Hall of Fame in the last few years and how I feel like they've watered it down. I feel like it should still be its own thing in its own arena on a different evening, not after SmackDown. First 40, 50 rows are all the legends. When people cut their speeches and tell a funny story, you get that shot of that legend in the crowd laughing. That was my favorite thing, was seeing everyone enjoying themselves and laughing so much. You want a good example? Check out Bobby the Brain Heenan's induction speech and how he will make a joke and it will cut to somebody. And it's just such a joyous thing to see. So that's one thing that we're missing from the Hall of Fame, is something like that. Also, this was a long thing, but, they do fucking plod along a little bit too. And, we don't need a kickoff show. I'd still say you need 2 more people, like 7 per year shouldn't be a problem. You have your celebrity, you have your female inductee, you have your main event guy, you have who's the other fucking inductees? You have your Warrior Award. You got to have a tag team go in. I mean, fuck me. You got to have a tag team go in. You got to have your celebrity go in. Have I said that already? Let me try it again. You need your celebrity, you need your woman, you need your main event, you need your tag team, you need your international guy. That's what it was. You need your Warrior Award, and you need like that mid-card guy that means something, like a William Regal or a Fit Finlay or a D'Lo Brown, Rikishi, Godfather, those types of people. Because if you keep it to such a small class, then guys like that do deserve it won't probably see it. And I just think it's important. So I still think 7 a year in its own arena, with all the legends at the front, because you don't need to fix something that isn't broken. But anyway, there we have it, everyone. My review show here, continuing our WrestleMania weekend coverage here of the WrestleMania Smackdown and the WWE Hall of Fame 2023. I'm Karlifornia. Thanks for joining me. Wish me luck watching NXT and trying to record another review at probably 4 a.m. before trying to get up tomorrow for WrestleMania. Thank you, and I will hopefully see you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.